The moment I remember most clearly isn't the phone call telling me my husband was dead. It isn't the drive to the hospital. It isn't signing the paperwork. It's the funeral. Specifically, it's the moment I looked across the open grave and saw a woman I had never seen before in my life standing on the other side of it. She was holding flowers. So was I. She had 3 children with her. A boy, 2 girls. The youngest one, she couldn't have been older than 4, was holding a drawing she had made. At the top of the drawing, in crayon, it said, "For Daddy." My husband had no children. We had tried for years. He told me it just wasn't meant to be. The woman across the grave looked at me. I looked at her. And in that moment, standing over the body of the man we had both loved, we understood exactly what had happened. Without a single word. My name is Rachel, and for 11 years, I was married to a man named Daniel. We met in 2013 at a work conference in Denver. He was in sales. I was in HR. He was the kind of man who remembered things. Your coffee order, the name of your childhood dog, the exact date of something you mentioned once in passing. I felt that meant he was attentive. I understand now that it meant he was careful. We married in 2014. Bought a house in Ohio in 2016. Talked about children constantly. Daniel traveled for work. Often. Sometimes for weeks at a time. Sales territory, he said. The Midwest, the South. Always moving. I never once questioned it. He always came home. He was a good husband. Patient, funny, present when he was there. The kind of man other women envied me for. I used to think I was lucky. I used to think that a lot.
Looking back, there were things I explained away. A second email address I found once. He said it was for a fantasy football league. A name in his phone listed as Mike from sales that he was weirdly quick to put face down. The fact that he always took work calls in the garage. I told myself, he's private. Some men are like that. I told myself, I trust him. We're good. In January 2024, Daniel had a routine checkup. 3 weeks later, he was diagnosed with an aggressive heart condition. Within 4 months, he was gone. He was 41 years old. He died on a Thursday morning. He died in our house, in our bed. I was holding his hand. I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong. The hardest part hadn't even started yet. The funeral was on a Saturday. About 60 people came. Colleagues, neighbors, family. I stood at the grave in the coat Daniel had given me for Christmas. I was holding white roses, his favorites. That's when I saw her. A woman, maybe 35. Dark hair, well-dressed. Standing with 3 children on the opposite side of the grave. None of them were on the guest list. None of them had been at the church. My mother-in-law was standing next to me. I leaned over and I asked, "Who is that?" She didn't answer. She just looked at the ground. After the service, The woman walked up to me. Her hands were shaking. She said, and I remember every single word. She said, "I think we need to talk. My name is Claire. I was married to Daniel, too." I heard the words. I understood the words. My body just refused to process them. Claire and Daniel had been together for 9 years. They had 3 children together, ages 4, 7, and 9. He had told her he traveled for work too. He told her the same things he told me. He used the same words. I found out later, he used the same restaurant for anniversaries. For 11 years, my husband had 2 wives, 2 houses, 2 lives. 2 women who trusted him completely. And he took that secret to his grave. Except, he didn't quite make it. Claire and I sat in my car for 2 hours that afternoon. 2 strangers in a parking lot outside a cemetery, comparing notes on a man we had both called our husband. He had a different ringtone for each of us. He had separate bank accounts, one we each knew about, one neither of us did. He missed Christmas with me every other year. He told me it was family obligation. His parents were difficult. He spent those Christmases with Claire and the kids in Tennessee. His mother knew. His brother knew. 2 of his closest friends knew. We had been at the same company barbecue in 2019. Claire and I, in the same backyard, at the same table. Daniel had introduced her as a colleague. I shook her hand. She smiled at me. Neither of us knew. But here's what no one tells you about a discovery like this. The grief doesn't go away. It just becomes something different. You're not grieving a person anymore. You're grieving the version of that person you were allowed to know. And that version never actually existed. 3 weeks after the funeral, I hired an attorney. Turns out, what Daniel had done had a name. Bigamy. A federal offense. He just made sure to stay one step ahead of the paperwork. For 11 years. Going through his laptop, I found a folder. It was buried 3 levels deep, inside a folder called Tax Documents 2018. He had labeled it that on purpose. He knew I never touched tax documents. Inside, 11 years of photographs. Claire's family, my family, side by side. Birthdays, holidays, school plays, and anniversaries. 2 complete lives, filed together in one folder, like 2 halves of a project he was managing. And at the very bottom of the folder, a document. A letter, written to both of us, together. Dated 6 months before he died. He had known he was sick long before he told either of us. He had written the letter when he first got the diagnosis. He had planned to send it. He never did. The letter started with 4 words. "I am so sorry." And then for 3 pages, he explained. Not excused, not justified, just explained. He said he had fallen in love with Claire before he found the courage to leave me. Then he fell back in love with me before he found the courage to leave her. He said he was a coward. He used that word, coward, 11 times in 3 pages. He said he had counted. he never sent the letter. So Claire and I read it together, sitting on my kitchen floor, a year after his funeral, sharing a story that neither of us had agreed to be part of. Claire and I still talk. Not often, but sometimes. We are the only two people in the world who understand exactly what the other one lost. Not a husband. A version of a life that turned out to be half. I've thought about that letter a lot. About the fact that he wrote it and didn't send it. About what it means to know the truth and choose silence. About how many people are walking around right now carrying letters they will never send. I don't hate Daniel. I've tried. It would be easier. But what I feel is stranger than hate. I feel like I miss someone who never fully existed. And I'm not sure there's a word for that. What I do know is this. The people we love most are the ones we inspect the least. We assume that closeness means knowledge, that years mean truth, that a man who remembers your coffee order must have nothing left to hide. Here's what I want to ask you. If the person you trusted most left you a letter they never sent, do you think you'd want to read it? Drop your answer below. I'll read every single one.